The only thing in life is pool, play pool, play pool. This is becoming a habit, eh? That certainly smells good. Jersey Mike's Italian number 13 on White Mike's Way. I grew up on Italian hoagies, so I'm not hoping it tastes like an Italian hoagie, but something, that resembles one, sort of. And I've learned to get a real hoagie, you gotta go to Philadelphia. I don't care. Maybe some parts of Jersey, but not very often. What are we working on today? I don't know. I was up all night working on my stroke at the house. But you can't work on the brake at the house. As you just saw, we have a clear shot on the 1 ball, and if we draw it a little bit, we're going to bump that 3 ball up by the side pocket, which should make everything even easier than it was when we started. The big key here is to get the right position on the 4 ball. We have to get on the left-hand side of this 4 ball in order to get back down table on this side of the 5 ball, because we don't want to play combination. This right side, left side, right side, wrong side is relative to if you're behind the shot looking straight down the line on the shot. And that's if you're new to this channel and you haven't seen all my videos, just to avoid any confusion. So if we get the cue ball on the left-hand side, all we have to use is this left-hand side rail to bounce down and get right on the 5 ball. Now, if you screw up and get on the right-hand side of this 4 ball line, it's not the end of the world. There's still ways to get back in position on that 5 ball. It's just going to be a little bit harder if you ask me. The worst thing you can do is get straight in on the 4, because then you're going to have to hit a power draw shot, and you're going to have to shoot that combination on the 5-7, and the 5 ball is going to get away from you. Pool is easy. What takes a lifetime to learn is how to avoid making it difficult. That's what Skylar knew and all the rest of these young guns knew that no one taught to you. Yeah, later on in the game, we get like this on the six ball, and it's just a blatant mistake on my part and refusing to learn at my age to keep things simple. But this happens to the best of us, and we have a couple choices. This would be the natural angle coming off the six ball. And we could go all the way to the top of the table and then back down to the bottom, or we could leave it somewhere around center table. We just have to be on the right side of that nine ball line, and we'll still be okay. And the other option is just to put a ton, and I mean a ton, of left hand English on this cue ball to kill that natural angle off the six ball and force the cue ball up in this position here. I think that's a better option. You're really going to have to be careful with deflection on this shot. You're going to have to compensate for it when you shoot this six ball. This ball will deflect. I don't care how great your shaft is. But when you're putting this much English on a cue ball, it's going to deflect. So if you're not real hip on aiming with deflection, I would just shoot for the right hand side of center table, and you should still be fine to shoot the 7 and get back right on the 8 ball. Then I wound up creating one more problem before I can get this game over with, and what happens is I wind up jacked up on the 8 ball and straight in on the 8 ball. Well, this doesn't look like much of anything. It's a little bit deceiving, and if I just roll up and just tap this 8 ball in, I'm gonna have a hard shot on the 9. You cannot cheat this pocket and shoot short to the right hand side pocket, just bounce off it. That was my first thought. But if you try to cheat this 8 ball, you're going to wind up rattling this 8 ball on this old Brunswick table in the side pockets. They do it every single time. You can't cheat them. You should shoot everything for dead center pocket anyway. And that way, when you come across a tight table, it really won't matter because you're used to shooting everything center pocket. You'll see me struggle with it, and I'm refusing to take the hard shot on the 9 ball, so my only other option is to jack way, way up on this 8 ball shot and draw it into position for the 9 ball. There's a whole lot of problems with that, and one is hitting the 9 ball with the shafts of your cue. Another one is hitting it too hard, and it just, wind up somewhere at the top of the table. If you hit it too soft, everything's going to get screwed up and you're going to wind up scratching. There's a whole lot that can go wrong. I would not recommend doing it. I would probably say don't do it unless you've been nice to people, because every person who's been mean to people are going to go home a loser on this shot. So if you're a nice guy, go ahead and do what I do. If you're not a nice person, you forfeit or you take the tough shot on the 9. Now, before we actually get going, don't forget to see the last balls on the table and how you're going to play them, because if you don't know where you're going, you're going to have a lot of trouble getting there. can tell you it's not a 2 thumbs up. But, I mean, we are in Tennessee, you know. It's because, you see, the reason you can't get a Philly cheesesteak or hoagie outside outside Philly's because it's in the bread. And the reason it's in the bread is because it's in the water that they make the bread with. So you have to realize Philly was born before, you know, the gasoline engine. And so the only way we had to, you know, to ship things was by boat. So everything was built around the waterways. And that includes all the factories who would dump their waste right into the water. The Schuylkill River and the Delaware River. And all the creeks and and they typically completely polluted the water. And that's why they taste so good. And it's true, that's why the bread tastes so good. It's a mixture of toxic chemicals that you can't get in other places. Yeah, so the boats would pull right up to the docks and get their products right out of the factory. That's my history lesson on film. It's not bad. It kind of grows on you. I'd be surprised if Jersey Mike has ever been to Philly. 1 thumbs up. It's being generous, but I'm a tough critic, and I realize that. So, I mean, it's good. It's edible. It's good for Tennessee. It's not good for the Northeast. 1 thumbs up.